Camera rolling. Hi folks, 23rd of May. 23rd of May. And I've got a lump of clay here. What I wanted to do was like a paddled form. And I got some different kind of paddles here in front of me. This is like one of my regular paddles with like a sushi mat put over it. Okay, that's one. This is a paddle, a different design on both sides, as you can see. I've also got a star paddle here. And on this side it's got some of that carpet. You put it under like a matting, stops the matting slip, which I just stapled to the other side. Okay, so there's just a few paddles there to play around with. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do here. I just sort of have in mind a sort of kind of a bowl form maybe. I'll see how we get on with it. So this is about, it's less than £6, it's about £5, 10 ounces, something like that. It's just a random amount of clay that I grabbed, as it were. I think it weighed 91 ounces. So, I suppose this is really a demonstration of how to use a paddle. I have done video on this before. If you go into my YouTube archive or whatever. Incidentally, if you go on YouTube, you go on my channel, or you want a particular video on a certain subject that you're not sure of, and you might think, well, all the videos they're not in any order, you know, they're not numbered or anything. How am I going to find a certain video? Just put in the search bar, you know, like Simon Leach coffee mugs or something like that, or Simon Leach making a teapot, or Simon Leach, and then all the videos that are related to teapots or mugs or whatever it is you put in will come up in the search. It's pretty easy to search on YouTube for, you know, it'll just bring up all of the closest that it can find. Maybe that's obvious, I don't know, but I get people writing to me wanting to know, you know, about this video, where to find it, and you know, I say, well, gosh, I mean, I don't know where it is, but just search for it. Just put in a search, you know, you'll find it. Just put in a few key search words and it'll pop up. Okay, concentration. Concentration. So, kind of, I don't need to go too wide. Stage. Nice day today for a change, and the birds are singing, which is nice. So I don't want to go too thin on the top here. Keep the top a little beefy maybe. In fact, what I like to do with these paddle forms, I like to sort of create the top and then do that with it a bit. So I've got like a groove here at the top, because I'm going to keep my finger in that groove later when I do expanding. Just lifting the clay up. Don't want to go too thin in the wall because we're going to expand, you see. So you need to think about that. The thickness in the wall, allow for it to go thinner, because when we expand it, we're going to need to go. We're going to thin the wall down, you know. Okay. Maybe in the picture, but my head's not getting in the way. I'm going to use my throwing stick just to smooth the surface, because I don't want to have a freshly ploughed field type surface on my pot. So paddles, what have we got? Yeah, this one, I'm going to start with this one. This is not a paddle that I made. It came in a bunch of stuff that was sent to me because somebody wanted me to sell me some of their equipment. Anyway, I won't get into that. That's another story. Won't get into that. So I had an idea. I usually hit this like that, but this time I'm thinking I want to hit it like this. Is that a crazy idea or what? It's not that easy. I'm going to have to maybe do it in 2 hits. First at the bottom. Once, and then a bit higher up here. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to do that one there, and I'm going to do like directly opposite. So I'm putting my hand on the inside like that, you see. Not like that, like that. Okay, up against the wall of the pot, because I've got to offer some resistance to the paddle. Okay. Ooh. Sorry about the sound effects, folks. It's just so you do your best, try and get them opposite. You see, now I'm going to do 2 on either side here. If I can. Keep the paddle wet. And over on this side. Yeah, crazy guy making all that noise. Okay. I'm pretty much, you hadn't guessed already, I'm pretty much feeling my way with this as I'm going. It's all right to do that sometimes. You know, you haven't got to know the end from the beginning before you even start. Sometimes you allow yourself a little freedom to just have fun, experiment. That's what we're doing, isn't it? We're just having a bit of fun. We're not getting too serious about this, okay? So no serious comments, okay, please. So I'm going to do the same. Now this is the sushi matting. I'm not sure if that's in the way, but okay. So let's just check that we're in the picture. I would hate for us to be. Yeah. Maybe we come in a touch. Not too much. All right. There you go. Right. So. Yeah. Sushi matting, here we come. Like that. Yeah. Allow yourself to be a little bit freehand, you know, don't be too tight. Sometimes it's good to sort of, sometimes, as they say, there is beauty in irregularity. Okay. We'll just, I've gone and made my wheel wet. Got water dripping everywhere here. Okay. Alright, it looks a bit bent out of shape, I know. That is fairly normal for these kind of pots. So now I'm just straightening the top, right? So well, I'm going to go down into the base of the pot now there and start to give your hands a bit of water on the inside there, okay? Just to keep it wet. And a little bit of water here in the top, because that's where I'm going to keep that finger, you see. Just there, like that. So as I go down, I'm going to start now with my inside hand, very slowly pushing out and bringing my hand up the side at the same time. So the form will begin to become more rounded, you see. Okay, down into the bottom. I'm getting right down into the base there, and just these fingers, and I'm just pushing out and bringing my hand up like that as it goes round, okay? It's nothing more than that. Meanwhile, keeping my finger at the top there. To keep it in at the top. Sometimes these pots, they work better than others. Sometimes they surprise me, they come out really well, and sometimes they disappoint me. We'll just have to see how we go with this. You see this finger? It keeps the top in. Keep this here, keep it a little bit, you see what I mean? This little flange bit at the top, keep it kind of going like that at the top. So you've got your fingers can keep it. Keep it in. So I'm expanding the pot. Which is a dangerous maneuver in a sense, because if you don't know quite where you're doing or how far to take it, you can take the pot too far and you thin the wall too much here, and basically the pot it just gives out, you know, and that could happen. I can't touch the outside of the pot. That's the thing, you know, that I instinctively want to do, is to put my hand on the outside to kind of, but I know I mustn't do that. I can't do that, because if I do, then the pattern or the decoration is rubbed out, you know. Let's take the camera off the tripod, bring it a touch closer so you can see what on earth I'm doing. Yes, I mean, we like to see what you're doing because we are totally mystified. So fairly narrow in the foot and bellying out, you see. Now I've just used the sushi paddle and the other paddle that you saw me use. And as you expand the pot, you see, the decoration, whatever you've done on the surface, kind of expands with the pot. Okay, I'm just sponging him out a touch. See, despite the fact that after I thumped it with the paddles, I'm putting a bit of pointedness in the belly here. Don't know if you can see that. I've made it a bit more pointed. Yeah. So what I want to do now is sort of like concentrate on the top of the form here. This will be trimmed underneath and it will have a narrower foot. So let's bring the camera in, a little bit of detail on the top lip there. Yeah. Just to catch that while I'm there. It's the little details, isn't it? We need the details, man. Yeah. Alright, so at the moment I want to do something to the top here. I'm not quite sure what yet exactly. So you see, I told you when I was throwing it, I'm keeping it a little bit beefy at the top. So if you don't think ahead when you're in the throwing process to leave that little bit extra clay at the top for something that you know that you're going to do later, you'll then find that you are short of clay perhaps when it comes to doing what you want to do later. You haven't got the clay there to do it. So just think about that as you go. Now I'm pressing down with my finger. I'm supporting it underneath like this, and I'm using my finger and I'm applying pressure right onto the top of the rim there, but I'm holding it as well at the side here. So I'm doing a number of different operations here. One is supporting with these fingers there, supporting the shoulder here, alright? Finger and thumb are holding it like that, and then this finger's coming across there like that. And I'm giving a bit of downward pressure to thicken this top here touch. This kind of work, you sort of have to feel your way. Feel your way, chum, a little bit, you know what I mean? It isn't all cut and dry. This is a sort of living organism that we are trying to get a sense of feeling about. So yeah, we do need to develop our sensibilities a little bit to sort of to be able to push the clay where we want it to. Let's just push back the camera, the focus a touch. There we go. So, yeah, I don't like pots that have rather feeble, flimsy tops to them. And I've been guilty of making pots and really not liking them myself, my own pots, and I've sort of trying to develop a little bit more of a generous feel towards the top of my pots. I think Grandad used to say, get the top of the pot right and the bottom of the pot right, and what happens in between will take care of itself. I don't know if there's truth in that, or maybe there is. Now, if you feel that this is getting a little bit soft, and you know, don't be afraid to well, considering how beaten about the pot was, if you remember, after I'd hit it with the paddles, now when you look at the pot, it's actually running, it's running remarkably true, isn't it? It's not really looking so kind of beat out of shape now because we've sort of brought it into line. So because the pot has been, we've been working on the pot for a little while now, it could be that the clay is beginning to tire and the pot is more likely to collapse, especially when you bear in mind that we've also we've expanded and pushed it out, so the pot is a lot thinner in the wall here than it was originally. So actually using a blowtorch like that is actually a good idea, I think. I've made pots like this before and I've been pleased with them, and I've, you know, put them down and I've gone away and come back an hour later and found the pot has just collapsed on its own. So, okay, just leathering the top here. My chamois. Throwing stick, just put that in there carefully at the base, just to create an entrance for the wire, and nothing more at this stage because we will trim this guy. And I think I'm going to cut him off. I sponged him out, didn't I? Yeah. Straight through. We'll give him a bit more hot air. So ideally, you know, doing this kind of pot, it's better to throw it onto a wooden bat, all right, and then lever the bat off and take the whole pot off, because we can't touch this pot really at this stage. Yeah, I'm just wondering if I've got... That's it, you see, you know, you think you're done, and then you sort of... You see something that needs a little attention. Attention! Yeah. Okay. You see that the top here at the moment is fairly nice and true and round. Now if that had lost a little bit of its roundness and was beginning to get a little bit overlated, you know, I could be seriously worried that it was going to collapse. But because it's round, and I've got this change of angle here in the top part of the pot, you see, where the flange is the top, I've got this change of angle here. Well, that actually, the change of angle gives strength to the top of the pot. If you can give strength to the top of your pieces by a change of angle like that, or by thickening up of the lip, you will add strength to the top of the pot, and that'll prevent the pot from collapsing. It's a good tip, that. It's a bit like the I say to people sometimes, if you take a piece of steel bar, flat bar, say like this, you see. If you hold it by the end of the piece of flat bar and you go like this, the bit of flat bar is going to bend, isn't it, like this. If you take that same piece of flat bar and put a line down the middle of it, and then bend that piece so it's sort of like an L shape, you see. You take the end of that piece of bar and you go like this. That bar is not going to flex, is it? It's going to be rigid because you've put an angle in it. It's the same with this. Put an angle in the top of your pots and it will give strength. Some piece of something or other got on there. So just bear that in mind. A little angle there, a little change of angle, even a slight change, and you'll give it strength. Okay, I might give it a bit more hot air and a bit. Meanwhile, leave it there. There it is. Well, okay, so it's a nice thing about a kick wheel, you can just stop it with your foot, you see. So there it is. It's an expanded